PCN is brought to you in part by the following underwriters.
Welcome to PACTV Community News. We have a great show for you tonight with stories from our communities. We'll hear what's new at the Pembroke Boys Club, visit a frozen SingAlong in Duxbury, and check out a new fitness business in Plymouth.
We'll also stop into the Kingston Library's 20th anniversary celebration, meet the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce's new executive director, and Town Talk brings Pembroke's town administrator here to the set.
It's going to be a great show, and we'll begin with an amazing masquerade ball that rang in the new year. For many of us, New Year's Eve includes a warm fire at home and watching television coverage of the ball drop in New York City. But Plymouth rung in the new year with a ball of their own, a masquerade ball. PCN reporter Maureen Bates was lucky enough to attend and bring us the story.
In the days leading up to the New Year's Eve celebration, it was very evident that something big was going on at Memorial Hall. Something quite magnificent. Ice sculptures, candelabra, and red carpets. As it turned out, the Jeff Cohen Foundation teamed up with To The Max Events to put on the Party of the Century, all to benefit the Plymouth 400. PCN met up with the co-chairs to ask, why a masquerade?
Well, we wanted something unique and different that the town hasn't really seen before.
Why not a masquerade?
Nobody likes to go out on New Year's Eve. Everybody likes to stay home and do home parties, so unless you give them a really good reason to go out, they're going to stay home. Max has co-chaired a lot of events with me prior, a lot of them on the Boys and Girls Club. I do a Halloween party every year, and we wanted to do a really big New Year's Eve event, and we picked what we thought around town needed the most attention and the most help financially. And Plymouth 400 being so new, they need a good signature event, so we're doing a giant masquerade ball. This is the first of many. And this didn't just happen overnight. We've been planning this for 2 years, so this isn't a let's have a party next month kind of a deal. 2 years of work, 2 years of meetings every week. None of us are paid. We're all volunteers, so we're taking time every week to meet, sometimes over weekends. I mean, it was a lot of work to put into this, but it becomes, what's the word I'm looking for? It absorbs you. It gives you such a good sense of community and a good sense of fulfillment to do something like this. And to watch it all come together, it's the biggest high you can possibly have. It is like it is such a mental high to look around and see everybody coming and having fun and just the people stopping off today and the kids taking pictures in front of the ice and everybody was having a blast. That's what the town needs. We need stuff like this. We're a small community, but we really need to think bigger.
We also met up with the executive director of the Plymouth 400 to get her take on a masquerade in Plymouth.
Well, I think it's a first for Plymouth, certainly, and the Midnight Masquerade Committee has done an impeccable job, really, of putting this together. And I have to say, a big thank you to Jeff Cohen and to Coralie Burke. Coralie's stylings, if you will, or design, it just really makes the place and Memorial Hall so pretty anyway that this is just really enhances it. And Jeff, this was Jeff's brainchild. We actually, I had a group of people over for Christmas, little Christmas party 2 years ago, and Jeff Cohen said to me, wouldn't it be cool to have a masquerade ball in Plymouth? And I didn't even work for the 400 at the time. Here we all are. I'm working for the 400. Jeff's doing his masquerade ball. It's really kind of cool. We really would like to grow this into a first night type of event where it's open to families earlier on in the evening, and there's fireworks, and we have such a great cultural community here, and we just became the 27th cultural district in Massachusetts, the Plymouth Bay Cultural District, so we can now use those cultural entities and bring them together to do some of the events leading up to the New Year's Eve.
According to Michelle, the future of this event has a radiant outlook. But it was no small task creating this year's standard-setting soiree. Coralie Burke led a team of committed volunteers.
Luckily, we had a great committee that came and pressed linens and did chair setup, and we did the centerpieces, and we swagged fabric, and I mean, the committee we had was awesome. They were so good, and they went above and beyond. And we had a big picture to fill in this hall, and I think they did a great job doing it.
Even after all this work, I did have one pressing question I just had to ask.
I have an incredibly important question to ask you. I have to ask, who are you wearing tonight?
I don't even want to tell you where I got this dress.
Because look at this. It's epic. I'm wearing a Max Original. Great. I think that's good.
It was an extraordinary night without a single detail left out. A feat that one dynamic duo undertook to create an event Plymouth can brag about hosting year after year. It was such a magical event that even I could not resist going to the ball. Reporting from Plymouth's Memorial Hall, PCN Arts and Entertainment. I'm looking forward to next year.
Taylor Swift's 1989 album may have topped Disney's Frozen soundtrack as the top-selling album of the year, but that doesn't mean anything to the youngsters who piled into the Duxbury Free Library's basement conference room for a Frozen sing-along over the holiday break. PCN reporter and Frozen aficionado Brian Sullivan stopped in to soak it all in.
Do you want to build a snowman?
If you've got young children or grandchildren, particularly young daughters or granddaughters, then you're probably well versed in the soundtrack to the Disney movie Frozen. Believe it or not, as an adult, I really haven't been keeping up to date with my Disney movies and musicals, but I'm sure I'll be singing most of these songs on my ride home. That's because the Duxbury Free Library hosted a Frozen sing-along over the holiday break.
We're going to have everybody come and do a little dance to every song, and then we have a few props to use. So we'll be doing some sticks and some throwing of cotton balls for the snowman part, and we're going to do some little rain for when Olaf the snowman is melting. This is like one of their favorite movies. The parents tell me that they've listened to their soundtrack multiple times, and the kids love singing it. It has a lot of poppy songs that are really catchy, so even the adults, I think it still rings in their head later on.
And of course, a Frozen sing-along wouldn't be complete without some arts and crafts to remember the occasion.
We're going to be doing Elsa wands, because she has a magical power of the snow again. And we have some just fun games, like there'll be fishing, ice fishing for magnetic fish. And we're also going to be making glitter snowflakes and Olaf puppets.
The moms helped out a little with the tape, but for the most part, the kids seemed pretty adept with the scissors and glue sticks. There was even a cardboard cutout of Elsa and Anna available for photo ops.
Smile. Put it down. Smile.
So my favorite character is Elsa, because she is witty and funny, and she's very resourceful, and I think a lot of the kids feel that way too. It's a good, like, feminine bonding kind of a movie, and I hope that kids, when they leave here, have a joy. We also have a lot of books on Frozen, so they can check out some materials, and we can share in the love of Frozen.
Reporting from the Duxbury Free Library, I'm Brian Sullivan, PACTV Community News.
This month, the Kingston Public Library celebrated their 20-year anniversary. They held a reception with many notable guests and had an exhibit which highlighted its evolution over the past 2 decades. PCN stopped in to see more.
And it wasn't until college that I learned of the beauty of learning that comes from books, where libraries, of course, have played a major role in my life. I wanted to congratulate you.
I'm Susan April. I'm the archivist at the Kingston Public Library, and I volunteered to be on the 20th anniversary committee. And the main thing I wanted to do was to put together an exhibit of what happened in this building after we moved here from across the street. I've been at the library for 7 years, so looking into the history of this building was really interesting. There was a huge fight to get the money to move in here. And I learned just incredible things about the people that I work with and the people in town who have been supportive of the library over the last 2 decades. I found out interesting statistics. I found beautiful pictures. The local history room is full of this kind of stuff, partially because we save it here at the library, but also because the people of the town bring it here knowing that we'll keep it and preserve it forever. And I tried to take the best looking pieces, the most interesting facts that I could find, and put them on the wall. I'm going to try to put it online. I can't guarantee that it'll be the same experience, but I want this information to go on into the future. So the 30th anniversary committee will have an easier time of it. We had a representative from the House of Representatives, Tom Coulter, give us a proclamation from the House congratulating us on 20 years. And we had an aide to Senator DiMacedo, who brought us a proclamation from the Senate. We have the same proclamations for our 10th anniversary and for our grand opening, so we're building. We're still going.
The library's been here 20 years. It's been a wonderful space, but it's busting at the seams. I'd love to see if we could put a second floor on this. It'd be fantastic. As the population of Kingston has grown and expanded, the library has expanded. The number of books, the old colony lending library, the number of computers has expanded, but it's time to expand again, and we're limited to the size of the space of this library. So hopefully a second floor or a new addition would be called for.
I'm Mary Alberti. We've lived here in Kingston since 1976, and we've seen amazing changes in the library. When my children were growing up, they were in the children's library across the hall, across the street, which is now the Adams Center. And we watched as this library morphed from the AT&T office to the Kingston Public Library, and we've watched as the volumes have grown and as Cia Stewart has increased the collections and the technology and the programs. My husband Bill has done some art exhibits here and some poetry readings, and this is like home away from home.
Because the system works, the system called Kingston Library.
The Pembroke Police Boys Club has been around since 1979. The club was started by then Sergeant Bill Bolter as a way to help kids in the community. Today the club is still going strong, featuring boxing, karate, and weightlifting, but is also looking for some help with building renovations. The club took over the town-owned building in 1979 and has not used any tax money for its renovations or repairs. PCN visited the 1896 building to see what was really going on inside.
This is the Pembroke Police Boys Club. This is the top floor, mostly used for karate to teach some of the younger kids in town self-defense and discipline and respect and all those things that young kids should be doing today. We took over the building in 1979, and we spent quite a bit of time doing everything over inside of the building and outside of the building to make it suitable for those three different sports. A lot of them now today that have come out of the club here are military officers, state police officers, regular local police officers, and they've turned out to be really good kids for the community.
My name is Alexandra, and in addition to my full-time job, I fight professionally. I turned pro in 2009, and the Pembroke Police Boys Club is kind of my home base for training. It's my place where I usually get ready for my fights. Eventually, down the road, we started volunteering here, and now we teach the Thursday class. We have obviously a bunch of kids, teenagers here who are here to learn boxing, and yeah, it's been great. So as far as our time, it's all volunteer work, and a lot of people in the community just really help out and contribute and give donations to the club and so forth, as well as the kids who work out here, and everybody pays the dues obviously towards the support of the club. We try to make sure the place runs smooth and stays clean and is maintained, and that we can provide everybody with classes and a place to come and work out after school.
There's a lot of repairs and things that we need. We need some equipment. We need some repairs to some of our electrical and plumbing and the heating system. It's all old. It's all old and archaic. And
the original sign for the Pembroke Police Boys Club is a little unique because the Y in the middle stands for youth, and we teach karate, boxing, and weightlifting, the three different sports that we have been teaching here for years. The rope that goes around the outside of the sign is nautical for Pembroke, because Pembroke was a shipbuilding community, and it's also part of the town seal. So when you look at the Pembroke town seal, you see the rope that goes around the outside of the sign.
I've actually come out of retirement and I'm coming back to the Boys Club to teach. So I have been going myself back to karate classes to get some of the dust shaken off, and we'll get back. I'm actually contacted a lot of the first students that came here and see if they have an interest in coming back and getting their black belt and stuff.
I think boxing is an incredible workout. I think that a lot of people take up boxing not in order to fight and actually get in the ring, but just for the workout routine. It just requires incredible amount of conditioning and cardio and everything else, and usually everybody that takes it up seriously enough to do it 2 times a week ends up losing a lot of weight and getting in a really good shape. And I also think it's a good outlet. After a stressful day, at least personally I enjoy it.
We'd really appreciate some help to keep the historic building up and to keep it open for the kids. We need to have the community jump in like they did back in 1980 to help us out and make it a better place for the kids.
Local entrepreneur Jenny Anania has enjoyed an expansive career as a dancer and fitness expert. She's been a professional cheerleader for the New England Patriots, a performer who traveled all over the country with a Los Angeles-based dance troupe, and a fitness model who has made numerous appearances in several health magazines. Anania channeled her passion for fitness and has opened 3 bar fitness studios on the South Shore in the past 4 years. She recently opened her 4th studio in Plymouth, and we met up with her for the grand opening, where she explained why Plymouth has been on her radar as a studio site for many years.
We are here at Secret Physique at my grand opening for Plymouth, Mass, and I've been waiting to open in Plymouth for about 5 years now. I thought it would be my 2nd location, and I just took some time, and now here it is, and we're very excited to be here today.
Take a deep breath in, bring your arms up. Sorry. And exhale and fold forward, reaching straight ahead.
Plymouth is special because it's an area with a lot of people with no bar studio. So I thought, what a better place than to have my studio open in Plymouth.
And keeping your chest down, slide your leg back to parallel, turning your left toes on the floor all the way forward. And one more time, back up to your toes.
Bar exercise entails a lot of lengthening and strengthening back and forth. We go to the bar and do high interval volume of strength work followed by stretching. So we'll do a thigh exercise, stretch it out, come to the middle of the floor, do a nice long yoga type Pilates stretch, go back to the bar, work the glute muscles, stretch, and a lot of back and forth.
And slide your right leg forward, keeping your hips square, going as far as you can and hold.
Lengthening of muscles is what you get from stretching, which gives a female, what's usually what we want, is that long, lean muscle look, as opposed to the short, bulky, muscular look. Bar comes from a fusion of ballet, bar work, Pilates, and yoga. It is actually originated with Lottie Burke from England back in the 50s. She was a woman, that was her name. She passed away about 10 years ago. She invented the Lottie Burke method, which now has turned into bar. It's just a fusion of bar work, Pilates, and yoga.
And cross your left arm over, swing your leg around to the back.
Women come here to get that long, lean physique. It really does deliver those results, and it's just a good feeling class. You come here and you end up leaving feeling wonderful. You worked hard, but yet you did all that stretching and the music and everything. It just gives you that good feeling, and women love to be a part of this class. We have ages from 15 up to 75 years old, both men and women. We are mainly women just because it's a exercise group class, and generally that's what happens to pull. But we have men in class all the time, and they love it just as much. When people walk away from this class, I hope they feel like they just had an hour to themselves of an awesome workout. They feel rejuvenated, they feel stronger, they feel happier and relaxed. It's a workout class should generally be that.
The Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce is going through more changes with a new executive director. PCN stopped in to meet the new but well-known addition.
I'm excited to be the new executive director of the Plymouth Area Chamber of Commerce. First order of business for the Chamber of Commerce, as I see it in my new role as executive director, is to keep the Chamber active. There are many events and workshops that we put on at the Chamber of Commerce building on Court Street here in Plymouth, including job training, college counseling, where we're not just representing the interests of business, but we're also very involved in the economy of Plymouth and job growth and mentoring students and making sure that Plymouth stays as a hub for the South Shore in terms of economic development. As everybody knows, 2020 is coming up, the 400th anniversary of Plymouth, and tourism is a major driver down here. So it's going to be important for the Chamber, as we're already doing, to work with Destination Plymouth and Plymouth 400 and the Plantation and the Pilgrim Society to make sure that not only the region knows about our anniversary, but also the state, the nation, and the international community, because this is going to be a big event, and we only have about 5 years left to plan for it, and we want to make sure we get it right. We just came out of a tough recession. I think that we're seeing business bounce back again, and we have to continue that upward trend. So what we're doing is reaching out and bringing businesses in and making sure that they're aware of programs and services that are available to them, both at the Chamber and through the local government and state government, and sort of acting as a clearinghouse. So we're continuing to build our vibrant community. In addition to all of the workshops and the seminars we do, the Plymouth Chamber is also very active in the community with a number of events. Everything from our signature waterfront festival, which draws thousands of tourists every year into the town in August, to a relatively new event, Barktoberfest, which we do down at Stevens Field, where pet owners can come down, and we have a day-long event down there. So it's not just about the workshops and everything else, but we also want people to come and enjoy some of our events as well.
Town Talk today brings Pembroke's Town Administrator Ed Thorne on set with us. Welcome, Ed.
Always a pleasure to be here, Jules.
Thank you for being here. Lots of things going on in Pembroke, but let's talk first about this new interest in building a plan for the community center. Tell me about where we are.
Well, obviously, because it's a focal point in the center of town, and because there's such a need for a building such as that, almost on a 24/7 basis, over the years we've looked at several different options, whether it be renovating the building or creating a new one. A couple of years ago, there was even the brainstorm of bringing the YMCA in from Brooklyn. So, we're sitting here, we're putting money into a building. The latest was a $70,000 allocation for a new boiler for the building to get it through the winter. And so it became obvious that we really needed to do something, fish or cut bait with that building. And so we've decided that we're going to put together a proposal for the Springtown meeting in which we would ask for engineering monies to look at a new building, pretty much behind the existing building right now.
Okay, so there was an idea once with the Y coming in, and that idea, the Y would have actually taken over and kind of managed?
There was some concern about that because, A, we were going to build a building for a lot of money and just turn it over to the Y.
Okay.
And there was some concern about that. So and there were a lot of factors involved, and one being that the payment that the Y was planning on giving the town was probably a third or a fourth of what the debt service would have been on the building.
Okay.
So we're looking at the possibility of creating another building. It's become obvious that we can work in partners with the school department on maybe an early childhood program as well. And so that's the plan for the spring. That's going to be the big item at the spring town meeting, in addition to the $59 million budget.
Okay, so just to finalize that, you're going to ask for engineering plans to be done for a new building, for a new community center, which would be located behind where the community center is now, like in the parking lot area?
That's correct.
Thereabouts. Okay, so more to follow on that.
Absolutely.
Okay, big budget for 2015. What are some of the big items that you're looking at town meeting?
Well, we probably have about $1 million that we generate in property taxes additional every year. About $500,000 of that right now is allocated for the schools. The remaining $500,000 will go towards fixed costs that the town normally has. That would be Plymouth County Retirement, the Mayflower Health Insurance Program, property and casualty insurance, things like that that normally go up. And that we have to pay for.
Right.
And, so right now we're factoring all those in as I present my budget to the selectmen and to the advisory committee, probably on February the 2nd.
Okay, and in our last half a minute here, the police station being looked at to be expanded, or what's the plan on that?
Yeah, I think what happened in 06 and 07, we did a pretty comprehensive study of all of the town buildings, and that plan had the town hall moving over to the community center,
right.
The police department moving over to the town hall,
yeah.
And we would use the police station either for administrative offices for the school department or actually auction it off to the private sector. Right now, in my conversations with the police chief, Rick Wall, is that he just believes that probably adding on a wing to the rear of the building would be sufficient for the time being.
Great.
And as he says, the officers are supposed to be out on the road and not in the building.
Right.
So we're all looking at that. That's like our big thing for the spring town meeting.
Excellent. Okay, lots coming up. All right.
A lot of things.
Thank you for being here today. Thanks for watching this week's show. Replay times are listed on our website, pactv.org, or you can catch us on YouTube by searching for the PACTV Community News channel. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to receive previews and links to all of our stories. That's it for this week, and we'll be back next week with another edition of PACTV Community News.